Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. I'm John, your host, and thank you very much. I'm a little under the weather, so excuse me if I seem a little bit slow. It's fighting off a cold here, but that's not stopping me from doing my job, which is watching the world around us and looking at what we can learn from it and how we can be better prepared when shit hits the fan. So it's been a couple of days since the Hawaii incoming ballistic missile alert went out and was promptly canceled. One of the most shocking parts of it is this isn't a test. It's not a drill. The line from the text. Well, if you're authorized to say it's not a drill, you would think that they would do a better job of not accidentally pushing that button. I mean, what was that button? Next to the coffee button or something? Anyways, I want to start. I'm going to try and hit some facts, and of course, I'm going to weigh in with my opinion. But I have a story to share with you. A friend of mine was over in Hawaii, and he got to experience this firsthand. Now, he grabbed his wife and they went down to the hotel lobby and said, "Where is the shelter for the nuclear threat?" And they said, "Oh, you head over to that room right over there." And he went over to that room, and basically, it's a banquet room. Bunch of people huddled into there together, and they're just huddled up to die with each other. No real plan at all. And he said this isn't how it works. Now, his experience as a military man was handling nuclear ordnance. So he knew, right, the yield of the bombs that supposedly North Korea has, how they would affect things. He understands the survival techniques that we were trained with way back then, as well as some prophylactic measures to keep yourself from being burned and knocked over by the wind, etc., as well as the flight times. So he looked at his watch, calculated the time he got the text till the time, he decided he wasn't going to die with a bunch of other people. And they ran out the back and up the hill and found a ditch and jumped in it. And he had about 10 minutes to sit there. Said he gave his wife a kiss, sent some texts off to family, told her he loved her, and just waited to die, essentially. They waited around, waited and waited, nothing happened. And then they got the text that everything was just fine. He said, it kind of left a little bit of a different feel on this particular Hawaii trip. No wonder there. But, it got his attention. Really got his attention. So, we have a lot of questions to ask, right? One of the questions is, was this a distraction? Did someone set this off on purpose to distract from other things? And people say, well, yeah, it was a distraction. Well, if it was a distraction, by the time we got our attention focused back over here, wouldn't we see them sneaking Hillary out the back door of her place with cuffs on? It may have distracted somewhat, but I don't think anyone's lost sight of all that's going on in Washington, D.C. Distraction, no, but test run, yes. I think this could have been a test run to see what the reaction of people would be. The psychology behind it. Something, that would promise imminent death. It's pretty interesting because the fact of the matter is that the general population in Hawaii appeared to have zero plan. No understanding of what to do, even though for weeks now, the state of Hawaii has supposedly been getting ready for an attack. Wouldn't you think that the people would be aware of this as well? Yeah, they have been. And then they would have a plan? Some plan? Now, it was interesting that people were putting kids, loved ones down in storm drains, and I did think that was a pretty good plan. Certainly, you wouldn't be showered with direct radiation. You wouldn't be knocked over by an atomic blast and flying debris. That was pretty good. I thought that was pretty smooth because I didn't hear about people neatly and orderly filing themselves into underground nuclear protection facilities, bomb shelters. Didn't hear about that. I just saw a lot of footage of people running around. I mean, people literally running one way left and one way right past each other. Where were they all going? You know, they've known for months now that it's possible that North Korea could hit Hawaii with one of their missiles. I mean, the odds are low. The odds are low that they have the technology, that they can equip their ICBM with a reentry bomb that's going to detonate at the right altitude to cause the most damage. It's a long shot in a way, but it's possible in another. But the people weren't ready. They've known about the threat and they've been warned. And this is where I step up and go, okay, as a prepper, if you know about the possibility and you've received warning and things are imminent, shouldn't you be doing a little more? Now, I love Hawaii. In fact, I'm wearing my Woody's Cocktail Hot shirt. I don't think there's really a Woody's there in Hawaii, but the people of Hawaii are great. They're very laid back. They're very mellow. You know, they're a peace-loving type of people. They're there. It's paradise. They're literally there, and it's paradise. And you don't think of hellishness when you're in paradise. But now they're being threatened with it. You would think that they would do something. You know, a lot more people doing something. But they've done nothing. This, to me, is indicative of the attitude of everyone in Hawaii, in the continental United States, across the world. People have been given lots of forewarning. For years now, there's been great discussions about shit hitting the fan, about the potential for World War III, about economic collapse and food shortages, coronal mass ejection, right, and ecological destruction. Everyone's known, and only a small percentage has done anything about it to provide for themselves when shit hits the fan. You know, with food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Now in Hawaii, they've had the very grave threat of nuclear annihilation, and they've still done nothing. It goes to show the complete lackadaisical attitude people have, that it's the government's job to provide for them, or that they really don't need to care, or there's better things to worry about. Now, understanding nuclear annihilation, I just go back to my head in my childhood here in the beautiful continental United States. The threat of Soviet Union just flattening our nation with nuclear bombs. We had drills in school. Parents were told to keep adequate supplies of water and food on hand. We had always had an evacuation plan. You could go to any number of buildings in the city that I was in, and there would be nuclear placards, fallout shelter here. You know, and they were underground. That's just how it was. You prepared. Today, people don't seem to have that attitude. They're very cavalier about their lives. Much the same way investors on Wall Street are completely cavalier with their money. Right? The volatility index is way down, meaning nobody cares. They're all asleep. It's the same story, though, when you look at that and you look at Hawaii. And then you look at the rest of the world. Everyone is asleep. They think everything is just fine. Meanwhile, the threat that we're looking at, the threat of war, the threat of economic collapse, the threat of tyrannical government, banking system failure, it is coming closer every single week. Every week I do the weekly wrap-up, it's closer. We're looking at some amazing closeness today, right? Today, this week, we're all over it. It is coming for us. It is inescapable. The question is, are you ready? Now, looking back at Hawaii, because I want to try and stay focused on Hawaii and the lessons it teaches us. There was a direct or immediate health impact on Hawaii. I don't know if you're aware of this. It's one of the most relaxed places on earth. They went from relaxed, 5% on the stress meter, all the way to the top. People had heart attacks, heart palpitations, shock, anxiety attacks, panic attacks over this incident with the text message. The erroneous, this is not a drill text message. What happened? Right? People had serious consequences, health consequences, immediate. Do you think that that's going to happen when shit hits the fan elsewhere? Yeah, there's going to be people that cannot handle it. Right from the start, a blast to the ticker. I can't believe what's going on. People keeling over. People having anxiety attacks, not understanding the world as it's changed right in front of their eyes. People that want to go out to Black Friday and fight with each other over shopping for, saving $5, they're all keyed up for it. They're geared up for that. That's their thing anyways. And they still have their problems. But no, when we talk about shit hitting the fan, you're talking about a situation that not everyone is ready for, not everyone's expecting. Certainly not everyone is trained for, prepared for, provisioned for. It's going to come as a huge and massive shock to them. And that's going to immediately tax the health system. It's going to immediately tax emergency services, ambulance, firemen, police. There's going to be a huge draw on that when shit initially hits the fan. It's for that reason that I highly recommend people have medical supplies, first aid kits, antibiotics, because you can't afford in the first few days, the first week, to try and get health care from someone who doesn't have the time, is unwilling, or doesn't care to give you health care, because they're already overburdened and undersupplied. So you need to have your own supplies. You need to have bandages, gauze, disinfectant. You need to have aspirin. Someone's having a heart attack, jam a couple aspirin down their throat to lessen the effects. You're going to want to have Tylenol around. You're going to want to have cough syrup. You're going to want to have basically whatever your medicine cabinet is, have a prepper's supply of everything that you're going to need in there. And along with antibiotics, because any scratch can become infected. Seriously, puncture wounds can cause death. Having antibiotics, and you have to have all of this ahead of time. Now, in our understanding of the nuclear threat, the nuclear potential, even if it's not an atomic bomb and it's just a dirty bomb, that is a radioactive bomb that just explodes and spreads radioactive crap everywhere, you're going to need potassium iodide. And that's really a rather inexpensive medicine that you can buy for a nuclear attack. Now, all the medications I just talked about are available at the preparedmind.club. They're available on Amazon because that's where the club is connected to. You can shop anywhere for these things. But the important thing to note is that when shit hits the fan, it's going to happen. It could be a slow one, but there's the chance that it could happen extremely fast, quickly, and you'll not have time to get some of these items. Looking back at Hawaii again and taking the example from Hawaii, what happened over there? 1 minute, you're on the beach sucking down a Mai Tai, staring at some surgically enhanced woman walking by. The next second, you're picking your phone up going, incoming ballistic missile. This is not a drill, right? You do the double take and you give out the big what the fuck, right? I'm busy drinking and gawking and now I have to start running. Yeah, that's instant. From paradise to purgatory, right? That time in between heaven and hell. They had 20 minutes before the bomb's going to rain down on them and rain fire. There's absolutely no time to get ready in this instance. There's no time to think even. There's no time to plan. When something like that happens, you have to have a plan ahead of time. You do. When I went to Hawaii years and years ago, I was like, geez, how do I plan for this? Okay, we go to this side over here, and we were in Maui, go on the back side, try and live off bananas and coconuts, I guess. Wasn't the greatest plan, but, I'd studied how to build a house out of bamboo, and right, that's my plan for shit it's the fan in Hawaii. But these guys are there. What's your plan? But what's your plan anywhere that you live? It doesn't have to be for Hawaii. You need to have a plan. A right now type of plan. In addition to the food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, when it happens, when shit hits the fan, and it's not some long drawn out process, it happens right now. You need to have the plan already in place. That's why I include the plan with being prepared. It's not just about stuff. It's about what's in your head. Right? And running around like a girl, screaming as if your hair's caught on fire, is not the solution. That's not going to help you at all. And, there's another thing that came up in this story that my friend shared with me. That what did people do in the hotel? Well, they did as they were told. They all went together to one room. And when my friend saw that, he just said, you guys are all going to die here. Right? He realized with just a few moments of thinking that that's not what you do. You don't follow the herd. Right? Lemmings follow each other right off the cliff. So in this scenario, this drill, right, this almost live drill over in Hawaii, people were following each other and showing up in groups. Will you see something like that when shit hits the fan? Will people just congregate together thinking that, well, there's safety in numbers, and if someone else is here, then this must be the right place? The only thing I can think is that guarantees that you're going to die like everyone else. It's it's just one of those things that you see. Right, the animals all run to a corner of the pen and wait there for the wolf to get them. That's why having a plan and understanding the situation, so that you don't fall into that herd mentality trap. Once again, following the herd doesn't seem to pay off. Never has. As a prepper, you're certainly not a part of the herd, right? Even though we would like more members of the herd to pay attention and actually do something. If not preventative, at least to help sustain them in the event of a prolonged SHTF scenario. So don't follow the herd, right? And always, always have a plan, because chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours, right? And thank you guys very much for coming over here to Patreon. I really appreciate it. It's great. It's quiet. We get the message spread through here, and please always share with friends, family, and loved ones. Share with them the idea that they need to be prepared. And this is one more example that you can point to that's outside of your opinions. Just say, hey, family member, pew, hey, friend, pew, take a look at Hawaii. What just happened? They could have been up the creek without a paddle. They weren't prepared. So then you can ask them, what are you going to do? And get them looking the right way. So maybe that'll work. It's certainly better than having them show up and knocking on your door saying, hey, we know you're ready. Can we join you? All right, guys, I'll talk to you tomorrow. This week is going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to more revelations out of D.C. I'm looking forward to more interesting developments in our economic situation. Oil going up, dollar going down, bond market looking scary, looking shaky, right? While everything else is at all-time highs. The Nikkei, well, the Nikkei went crazy in the 80s, but it's going back. It's if you would look at the last 20 years, all-time highs. Everything internationally, enormous financial bubbles. Whew. All right, you guys, be cool. I'll talk to you soon.